OEA-PIE is the Oregon Education Association People for the Improvement of Education.
The prime job is to support the candidates who measure up to what the OEA standards are, so that we have pro-education candidates serving as leaders.
It's a way for people to get involved politically.
OEA dues dollars do not go to candidates. There are federal laws that prohibit that. So PIE, being a voluntary contribution, allows us to pick candidates who support our causes.
Once you become a member, then you get the opportunity to make your voice heard and help decide where that money is going to be spent in supporting candidates that will also help us to support education.
I think too often legislators make a negative impact on education when they don't fund education adequately. When we see schools where we have to repair roofs or we have crisis management, that's inappropriate. When we have cuts in school budgets where children suffer, that's inappropriate. When we have individuals who seem to think that they know better than educators what education should take place in the classroom, that's inappropriate.
I think one of the reasons why I signed up to be a member is because I believe that my money goes furthest when we direct it, when I can lump it together with thousands of other teachers across the state, and that will, in turn, help elect candidates who make laws that affect me and my classroom in terms of class size and resources and curriculum issues that the legislature more and more is having more control over.
Any member who contributes at least $5 can have a say in which candidate gets recommended.
In the recommendation process, local members get together, local PIE members, that is contributors, not just OEA members, but they have to be PIE contributors. They get together and interview candidates. OEA helps us by providing questions that have been approved by other members so that we can have an idea of where they stand on issues.
If we do recommend a candidate, then that kind of goes on to the larger PIE board, and then the candidate is evaluated on the success of the viability of their candidacy. We might really like a candidate, but they're in a district which is not going to support them, in which case we may give some financial support, but not a lot. Other candidates we like and are in solid, almost assured positions of winning, and we may give them a modest amount. But the candidates which are in changeable districts, then we might give some substantial financial support to.
PIE conventions are in a very exciting time. That is when PIE contributors can come to a statewide event and look at state and national candidates.
You have all the political candidates that want to get the recommendation and the support of the Oregon Education Association. They come and they give their talk, they make a presentation, and then we vote.
It's a lot of fun. People go. The candidates sometimes have hospitality rooms, and so we can go there and you talk to the candidates, sit down with them informally and talk about issues you have, and they'll tell you what they feel. And it's just a way for you to meet the candidates.
You can ask them as many questions as you want, and they are very attentive. They want to answer your questions. They want to talk to you because they want OEA's recommendation for a candidate.
I think my favorite thing about the PIE convention is the passion and intensity of other members, and just listening to people really get involved and really wrestle with issues and the pros and cons of different candidates, and you get a whole different perspective and a whole different way of looking at things when you look at things from other people's perspectives. I think that's really interesting.
What we do in education in this state is incredible, and nobody gives us any credit for it. We have been working for 17 years with cutbacks, And we need to do something about it. The kids are worth more than that, and we're worth more than that.
Everybody's pro-education, you know, so that's kind of, you got to kind of weed through. Everybody would say, no one would say I'm anti-education.
We need to know what's going on in Salem. We need to know what's going on in Washington, D.C., and we need to tell our congresspeople and our local legislators what we think is right and how their policies are affecting us every single day in our classrooms. We need to keep them accountable, and we need to let them know we're watching.
There are limited ways in which we can influence the decision makers in the state of Oregon and on the national scene, and through the political contributions is one important way. These have impacts on laws that come from the federal government, funding that comes from the federal government, and certainly laws and funding from the state.
And the great thing about Oregon is we have our $50 tax credit. If you are single and you want to give $50 to OEA-PIE, it is free. It's a tax credit. If you're married filing jointly, you get a $100 tax credit.